Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. Got battle on the Proctor map with Killer Elmo, and he's in the LHMTV Tier 8 British light tank.
I can't believe I had to take a day off filming for this.
It's a Tier 8 Tier 9 battle, so he's bottom tier. Obviously, this is Proc, which is great for light tanks, so that will help him, but there's two light tanks on the other side compared to one on his side, so that's going to be interesting. There's a Charmel 75 with 291 and then LT432, so both pretty good light tanks. Now that Char's been seen and in fact spotted by Elmo, so that's interesting. But he's just on the other side of the rail tracks, getting pursued and obviously taking some damage. It's actually come to the, what you call the school bush to start with, but hasn't spotted anything on the 1-2 line. So he's coming to the bushes on the edge here, trying to push up. He's running the standard CVS and related equipment, so should be good for spotting on this particular map. So this is obviously the sort of map you want to use to exercise all those modules and get the most out of them. Right, so he spot that Scorpion. Hasn't got any of the system damage there, but now he's spotted the enemy light tank, well, medium tank I should say. In fact, both mediums. There's Clan Commander Fury in the Barask there. So both hoping to trap, I guess, tanks pushing down the 1-2 line.
Target disengaged.
And now we're starting to pick up full value from spotting. Hit on the Badger 25 T8P. So I picked up 1758 now, which is and yeah, didn't get anything from that Scorpion, so it's obviously being spotted by someone else. Alright, now spotted the Carnarvon and getting all the value out of that. 1300 already from the Carnarvon and a Panther 2. So these shots flying down range, and all of a sudden they've got quite a big jump in their hit points differential. Nice to hear the shots whizzing past. Good sound design. So this is a good point though. Now, IC152K has taken out the Barask that was behind Elmo. Now it's an unspotted tank, so probably further down the 1-2 line. But now Elmo actually picking up spotting damage across the map too, so it's right at the crossroads here, so you can keep the Barask and the Lurva spotted there. Both clan mates. And he's just under 5k of spotting damage so far. So a little bit static at this point, but there'll be a decision point. Which point can he move further up now? Part of this is, doesn't seem, oh here we go, there's 432. I'm going to say, just before that tank appeared, part of it is deciding where the other enemy light tanks are, and all of a sudden the LT432 appears. So it repairs his text quickly. Luckily didn't take any damage from that. Circling back while he's unspotted. It's a good move. I'm not sure if I saw a tree fall just there, so there could still be tanks in these bushes here, but I'm sure he'll spot them pretty quickly if there are. But yeah, that was a good quick reaction to the LT432 appearing. in the LT, in fact, doing exactly what Elmo's doing right now. There you go, Canoan appears because he fired, exposed himself, and gets sent back to the garage as a result. The Batchat has been reduced to 120 hit points. So Elmo just moving up cautiously here. There's no point going too fast. Firstly, you need to drag your teammates along with you to some extent. They need to be in sort of shooting range of, or at least angles of what you're spotting, otherwise you're not going to get any damage out of it. Really knows this ISU 152K down here. Oh, in fact, there he is. Who spotted him. So he's starting to get the damage out of that. In fact, there he goes, sent back to the garage very, very quickly. So he's now up on 7K, and Kampfpanzer 07RH decides this is the time to push. Not sure that was a smart thing to do. He's copying a beating as a result. And there's a Tortoise at the back there. In fact, the Tortoise takes out the Kampfpanzer. So that was a bit of a bad move there. And maybe he was deciding he was going to go after the Batchat, but yeah, he just wasn't fast enough. So Elmo can keep the Tortoise lit. The Tortoise, however, is right down the end on the A line and basically very much held down, which is interesting for such a high TE. We can't actually spot him right now, despite how close Elmo is. And the game is actually swung back very much in favour of the enemy. So they're one tank down, and they've only got a very slight lead in hit points, so this game very much in the balance. So Elmo just inching up here. Picks up the last bit of damage on the lever, which is line balls. You just see the hill there that the Tortoise is behind. But is there anyone else down here? There's a Borsig and an SU 130 PM, or that SU and the Borsig both seen on the other side of the map, so possibly not here. But he's got to be very careful with this Tortoise. And what he doesn't want to do is announce his presence by knocking any trees down, so just holds it here. He's got the Tortoise lit. He doesn't want to get so close that he gets proxy lit. His teammates pushing up Scorpion and Borsig. Now he can come in and help get some side shots on the Tortoise, which he does. He's got a fairly low alpha gun, so not getting a lot of damage out of his shot, but hey, it's better than nothing. Trying to get behind the Tortoise to stop him turning around. Oh, and he's being shot at by the Batchat, so he needs to get out of the way there. Luckily the Tortoise goes down, and the Batchat goes down, so that was a good get. So now they're one up, but all their hit points have been reduced dramatically. So the question is, where are the rest of the enemy? Well, we know where the Borsig is. He's just on the other side of the railway line. There's a T-34 somewhere. Fury's Barask, and it's the SU 130 PM, so a lot of them are on the hill, and they might still be there. And will they get spotted? But spotted by what? Maybe something on the hill? Not sure. But something that he didn't spot. Now what Elmo was trying to do there was just proxy spotting him was on the other side of the railway line directly, but most likely by being spotted, not spotting himself. Oh, here you go, Brass coming up from that Fury, and he gets taken out by the Borsig, which is lucky. He does take a hit. I was going to say, oh, and he gets smashed by the Borsig, who just pops over the railway line and wastes him. So that's the end of Elmo's game. The question is now, who's going to win? So we've got 5 minutes left. There's 5 tanks left on Elmo's team, and there's 4 on the enemy side. Now, yeah, sorry, what I was trying to say about the spotting and not being spotted is that he poked his tank up just over the gap in the railway line, so part of his tank was visible. That got him spotted. But unless one of the observation points on your tank, and there's a few, and you need to go to the wiki to look at all the different ones, but I think there's one on right on the front, midpoint, and on the upper plate, and then there's one on top of the turret and a few others around. But unless one of those gets visible, or has line of sight, I should say, to whatever the other objectives that's spotting you, then you won't be able to spot them. So it's basically saying if your observation points are obscured by any hard cover, then you won't be spotting anything. So just something to remember. Anyway, luckily we've got Tim Bob here in the Udis. He's a pretty handy player. Saving Rides Privates. It's got a great name, but I think he's also very handy. But Tim Bob just trying to push these guys back. 3 minutes to go. They need to really get a move on here. Now the Baltic does a fairly risky thing. And the Scorpion coming onto cap. Now we know there's a Borsig on the other side. They are eminently spottable, even though they're probably camo crews and all that sort of thing. Anyone who's going over the railway line is going to be subject to being hit, so no one's really doing that. So it's quite possible that one of those tanks will appear, particularly the Borsig, and take out both of these 2 tanks. But there you go, Borsig a spot, he gets shot at twice. And there's the T-34. And that's the heavy tank T-34, and T-34 takes out the Scorpion, so things got even closer. Now there's only 2.5 minutes to go. I'm just being very careful here, but at least we know the T-34 is down that end, and the Borsig. Luckily the Peregrine has taken out the Borsig. And the Peregrine heading towards them. He's taking a bit of a beating here. Oh, he can't get a shot in on the T-50. Oh, he does, and then doesn't do any damage. This is ridiculous. I think this is heading for a draw. Certainly looking that way. 1.5 minutes to go, almost. He says needs one more shot in on this T-50. Finally gets it. The Baraska's got a lot of hit points. Should go after this T-34. In fact, he's the only one left, so he does it. They do have a chance. Lines him up, I hope. And does he get a kill? Yes, he does. Oh, that's finally done. 1.5 minutes to go, and that is a win. So a great result for all the efforts that Elmo put in. Let's go and have a look at the details. Okay, Patrol Duty Medal. That's for getting the spotting. Number of tanks there. The Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. He's done 8.8k of assisted damage and 900 of his own damage, but combined is about 9.8k. So a great result there. He's finished well on top in terms of his team performance, nearly 40% more than next best player, which was an IS-3A we didn't see anything of, and the Barask, who ended up doing 3.1k, getting the last kill. On the enemy side, the Skoda T-50 was the outstanding player there, and he kept going to the end, so well done to that player. You heavy tank. Interesting spelling. Doesn't matter. Anyway, almost game. Only fired 5 shots, not surprisingly, acting as a more passive spotting tank, and managed to do 4 shots of damage, which is good. Out of that, Tech Tree tank, so his costs weren't all that high, although repair costs actually quite low for a full repair, but didn't spend much on anything. So end up making a tidy profit of 53k. Anyway, great game there from Elmo. Apologise for my voice, having some respiratory problems. But hopefully you're still enjoying the video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. We have more great content to follow. Thanks very much for watching.